So it almost sounds like I'm desperate, like, please work with me. But, you know, it's true, I would like to work with them. So I feel like it had been a while since I heard kind of a consistent bit of really good R&B albums that I really wanted to listen to. And I'm glad that these guys are making those kind of projects. But of course, when I make my album, I want to be better than all of them. So that's my goal. I think it's cool when artists can talk a little shit, you know? I think we're so used to Beyonce being so polished. Hey man, it's good to be back.
Cool. How's your journey been so far?
Oh, it's been a good trip. It's pretty brief and it's pretty packed with interviews and meetings and all this good stuff, but that's why I'm here. I'm here to tell everybody about the new album and prepare the way so that when we come back in June, we'll have a hit on our hands.
It's been 5 long years since your last album came out. What have you been up to in the time since?
Yeah, so my last solo album was Evolver, but also came out with a collaboration album with The Roots in 2010. And I went on tour a few times since then. I've had a lot going on. Obviously done a lot of different collaborations and put some songs on soundtracks, but also been writing songs for this album. And so over the past 2 or 3 years, I've been writing material that's going to end up on Love in the Future. And it's been a good experience, you know, just writing based on my perspective now, having, you know, been around for a few more years, haven't been in a relationship for a long time, and just writing from that perspective, and also just growing as a musician, learning more and more about what I want to accomplish with my records, and working with the right team to make that happen.
Okay. We were actually privy to hear a lot of Love in the Future, and we really like it. We think you're onto a winner with this one.
Thank you.
What's quite interesting about the album is that it's very sonically and vocally John Legend, but then it also has an edgier sound to it than what we're kind of used to.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the creation process and some of the people that you worked with on this particular project.
Yeah, so, you know, my mission coming into the project was to make something that was soulful and wouldn't sound like it was completely different from what I've done before, but also just to have some fresh elements in it and really make a great modern soul album. And so I worked with some of my team are people that I've been working with for years, like Kanye, Dave Tozer. These guys, I've been working with Dave since 1998 when I met him when I was at university in Philadelphia. And then I met Kanye when I moved to New York back in 2001. So I've known both of these guys for over a decade, and we've been making music together over a decade. But we came together again for this project, and I felt secure that my core team was good and that we would make sure we made a quality album. But I also wanted some people that would bring us some new sounds and you know, push us a bit creatively and musically, and freshen up our sound a bit. So we worked with Hit Boy, we worked with the Interns and a few other producers. We worked with Bink for the first time, worked with 88 Keys. I had never done a track with him before. So, you know, it was good to work with people that I hadn't worked with before, and also with my core guys that I've been working with for many years.
Okay. And one of the tracks we're really loving at the moment is the new single, Who Do We Think We Are?
Yes.
Featuring Rick Ross, as well as a track that I personally like called Save the Night.
Yeah.
What's some of your favourite tracks on the project?
Well, I really do love the single, Who Do We Think We Are? I wrote another song called All of Me, which I really love. It's a ballad. It's kind of one of those ballads that you may have played at your wedding, or maybe when you propose to your girl, or just when you want to tell your girl how you feel about her. I think it's definitely a good song for that. But I think it's one of my stronger compositions in a while. I also love this track called Made to Love, which is kind of a different sound for me, and it's a little bit different than some of the other records on the album, but it just feels great, and it's very kind of haunting and memorable, and the arrangement is really beautiful. So that's one of my favorite records on the album.
Okay. In your time away, we've seen like a plethora of male artists make their mark in R&B. So if it's, you know, the Miguels, the Luke Jameses, the Frank Oceans of the world, do you feel, honestly speaking, do you feel any competition element in there at all?
Well, I always feel competition. You know, whenever new guys come along, I know that it's not a sense of where if someone else succeeds, then someone else has to fall off. So it's not kind of a zero-sum game where if they do well, then I can't do well also. But I'm always a little competitive because I want to do better. But these guys are my friends. I've worked with Luke James. I've worked with Miguel. I've worked with Frank. And they all told me that they listened to me when they were younger. So most of these guys are like a decade younger than me. Though it's kind of crazy. I'm like the old guy now, and I always thought I was like the young guy. but I've been around longer than these guys, but I definitely feel inspired by what they're doing because I feel like they're doing something fresh and something that we needed in the game. And I feel like it had been a while since I heard kind of a consistent bit of really good R&B albums that I really wanted to listen to. And I'm glad that these guys are making those kind of projects. But, of course, when I make my album, I want to be better than all of them. So that's my goal. So it's no diss to them. It's just I want to be the best.
Excluding the current album, what is John Legend's favorite John Legend album?
I think my favorite John Legend album, excluding Love in the Future, is probably Once Again. It was my second album. I loved Get Lifted. It was my introduction to the world. But something about Once Again, it was just more beautiful to me. And so I think that was my favorite one. And when I was making Love in the Future, I was trying to get myself in the mind frame to do something as beautiful as Once Again. And, that was one of the things that was guiding me as I was making this album.
We definitely call you the chick back. So two of our favourite John Legend tracks are Quickly featuring Brandy, and I really loved your take on With You I'm Born Again with Mariah Carey. Who out of the current crop of artists on the scene would you love to collaborate with if you haven't already?
I get this question all the time, who are you going to collaborate with, John? And, I've collaborated with just about everybody. There's only a few people left that I haven't collaborated with. But I'd still love to work with Adele. I'd still love to work with Beyonce. I say those answers every time, so it almost sounds like I'm desperate. Like, please work with me. But, it's true. I would like to work with them.
Okay, so. Speaking of Beyonce, there's a lot of buzz about her new track, Bow Down.
Yeah.
Have you heard it?
I heard it once, maybe 1.5 times. I haven't really gotten a chance to really live with Bow Down. But, I think it's cool when artists can talk a little shit, I think we're so used to Beyonce being so polished that it's hard for people to hear her get a little bit grimier. But I think it's just a fun track, and I don't think it's meant to be taken so seriously. I think a lot of people are taking it super seriously, but I think it'll just do its thing for a little while, and then she'll come out with some more traditional Beyonce tracks, I'm sure.
A bit of a random snap question as we round up now. What is John Legend's most embarrassing moment on
stage? I've tripped and fallen a few times on stage. That can be embarrassing. One time I was working, I was playing, and the piano started doing some crazy things because I play a grand piano, but it also has a MIDI attached to it, which is like a kind of like an electronic module that kind of tells the piano what sounds to do. But also the MIDI has this function where you can press demo on it, just like those old Casio keyboards where you press demo and just a random song starts playing. Well, I accidentally pushed the demo button in the middle of a gig, and some random song just started playing in my show, and that was pretty embarrassing.
Okay. And what would you say is the most common misconception about John Legend?
Well, I don't know if there's a lot of misconceptions about me. I get the sense that who I am publicly is very similar to who I am in real life. I do think people think I'm super serious and buttoned up and don't have a good time. That is not true.
And final question, how would John Legend like to be remembered when the dust has settled?
When the dust is settled, I want to be remembered, first of all, for just making great music. And, that's the great thing about being a musician is that your work lives forever. And if you do it right, and you make something that's really timeless and that's enduring, and then you really can make an impact on the world just from creating something beautiful as an artist. Also, I do a lot of charitable work too, and I want to, try to make an impact on people's lives and help people get out of poverty, help people get a better education and things like that. But my main goal in life is to try to make great music, and so if I'm remembered for that, then I'll be very happy.
So, Legend, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.